If success is important to you, is your business a priority? Hey, lovely. Today I want to have a really honest conversation with you. Not a judgmental conversation, not a guilt-inducing conversation, just an honest conversation. Because lately I have been speaking with quite a few women who tell me that they want more from their direct selling or network marketing business, right? Is this you? Let me know. They want more sales, more customers, more team members, more income, more confidence, promotions, company rewards, and incentive trips. And honestly, I absolutely love hearing about women dreaming bigger for themselves, right? But sometimes when we dig a little deeper and start actually talking about what they're actually doing each week to build their business, there's a disconnect, right? Because the goals are big, but the actions aren't always matching the goals, right? Now, before you switch off and think, oh no, Penny's about to tell me I'm not working hard enough, absolutely not. That is not what this episode is about at all. All right. Because I know you're busy. I know you're juggling family. I know many of you are mums and grandmas. I know many of you work another job. I know some of you are caring for aging parents. I know life is full. I get it, right? My life is full. I'm juggling lots of things too, right? But this episode isn't about doing more. It's about asking yourself if success is important to me, is my business actually a priority in my life? Can't spit that word. Priority. It's almost a tongue twister, isn't it? And honestly, it's a question I've had to ask myself at different times too. So let's dive in. Are you ready? What do you actually want? And I think before we can talk about commitment, we need to talk about clarity, right? Because it's very hard to stay committed to something when you're not really clear on why it matters. So let me ask you, why did you start your business? And I don't mean what product you joined for. I mean, what was the reason behind the decision? Now, you can share this depending on where you're having a listen to this. You can share this in the comments, or maybe it's just something, commit to yourself, write it down for yourself. But I want you to have a think about, right? What was the reason behind the decision? Why did you start your business? Was it about extra income? Was it about helping with household bills? Was it paying for family holidays? Was it about having some spending money without asking anyone else? Was it around creating flexibility around your family? Was it about building something for your future? Retirement planning? Is it about confidence, friendships, having something that belonged to you, something that was your thing to do? For me, I think women are far more likely to stay committed when they're connected to a meaningful reason, right? Because when your why is strong enough, it helps carry you through the hard days, right? And let's be honest, every business has hard days, right? Every business owner has moments where they feel frustrated, right? And every business owner has moments where they question themselves, but when you know why you're doing it, it becomes much easier to keep going, right? So maybe you, as you're listening today, ask yourself, what do I actually want this business to give me? And how important is that to me? Okay. So I want you to think about that. Now, I know many of you listening are mums, some of you are grandmas, and one thing I know about women is this. We're really good at putting everyone else first, right? And honestly, we're experts at it. We'll drive everyone else to their activities, we'll organize appointments, we'll help our children, we'll help our grandchildren, we'll support our partners, we'll look after everybody else. But sometimes we struggle to make time for ourselves. And I think that's something worth talking about, right? Because yes, family is important. Of course it is, right? I've got hubby and 3 kids and all the other extended family as well, right? Um, but it is okay to have something that matters to you as well. Is it okay? Do you think it's okay to have something that matters to you as well? I think it is. I think it's okay to have goals. I think it's okay to want financial independence. I think it's okay to want confidence, right? It's okay to build something for your future, and it's okay to want success, right? And look, success looks different for everybody, right? But it's okay to want success, whatever that version of success looks like for you, right? And I absolutely think it's okay to protect some time each week to work on that, right? Because I've noticed something, and I've been in this game for a really long time now. Many women will happily spend hours helping everybody else achieve their goals, but they feel guilty spending 1 hour working on their own, right? And that's something I think we need to challenge because your dreams matter too, your goals matter too, and your future matters too. I want to talk about the difference between being interested and committed, right? And this next part might sting a little bit, but I think it's important because there is a big difference between being interested in success and being committed to success, right? Interested people work on their business when it's convenient. Committed people find a way to work on their business consistently. Interested people hope things improve. Committed people take action. Interested people wait until they feel motivated. Committed people take action even when they don't feel like it, right? Now, you need to hear this, right? Please hear this. I am not talking about working ridiculous hours. I am not talking about sacrificing your family. I'm not talking about burnout. I don't want you burning out, right? What I'm talking about is intentionality. Intentionality, right? Because one of the biggest differences I see between women who get results and women who stay stuck is consistency, right? Not talent, not experience, not personality, consistency. The women who keep showing up, the women who keep learning, the women who keep implementing, the women who keep taking action, those women eventually create momentum. And that could be you too, right? So I want you to think about this one. Are you busy or are you building? Because I think this is a question that every business owner should ask themselves, right? Are you busy or are you actually building your business, right? Because those aren't always the same thing, right? Sometimes women tell me they are spending hours on their business, but when we look at what they're actually doing, they're tweaking graphics, they're scrolling social media, the old doom scroll. They're watching training after training, but not implementing, right? They're organizing things, they're planning things, they're thinking about things. And while all of those, while some of those activities obviously have value, they don't always grow the business, okay? Business building activities are things like following up, starting conversations, posting consistently, reaching out, nurturing relationships, both on social media and off, inviting people, building visibility, right? Creating content. These are the things that will move the business forward. Okay, will move your business forward if you are doing them. Okay, and sometimes we need to be honest with ourselves about whether we're actually spending our time in the right places, right? Are you actually doing business building activities? Are you actually doing money making activities, right? Because being busy doesn't automatically create results, right? The right activities, doing the right activities, that is what is going to create the results that you're looking for. Okay. And you know what? You don't need more time. Promise you don't need more time. I mean, I do hear this one a lot, right? Penny, I just need more time, right? And honestly, most of us would love more time. I know I've said that to myself. There's not enough hours in the day, right? We've all said it, right? If you're nodding along here, you let me know, right? But what I've noticed is that successful women don't necessarily have more time than everyone else, right? And look, I'm in that category. I am a successful business owner, and obviously, I spent 16 years in the direct selling industry where I built a multi-million dollar direct selling business. Well, guess what? I've got the same number of hours in the day as you do, right? And then obviously, for over 5 years now, I've been coaching women from loads of different direct selling and network marketing businesses, right? And guess what? Everyone's got the same amount of time, right? The ones that are the most successful, right? They're just intentional with the time they do have, right? You've got to be intentional. And success isn't always built in huge blocks of time, right? Sometimes it's built in, say, I don't know, 20 minutes before work, right? Maybe it's 30 minutes after dinner. Maybe it's sending a quick follow-up message while you stand waiting for the kettle to boil so you can make yourself a cup of tea. Maybe it is those Facebook posts. It's spending some time creating and scheduling the Facebook post. Maybe it's getting a reel out there. I am actually on a streak. Do we call it a streak? I have been making or posting a reel a day, every day for about the last 45 days. And you know what? I know it's a little bit of a tangent, but I will freely admit that I dragged my heels for a long time about consistently doing reels, right? Reels are really important in attracting new people to you and your business, right? Whatever your business is. For me, I'm a business success coach for women in direct selling and network marketing. For you lovelies listening here, you're building direct selling, network marketing businesses, online businesses. I know I have a lot of listeners that are not necessarily with a direct selling or network marketing company, but maybe have their own small business, and you're trying to learn how to grow that, build that online. Anyway, I dragged my feet for ages about doing consistent reels, right? And by consistent, and multiple reels a week, let alone daily, right? My goal was, at least I do one reel a week. I'll get that out there, but hopefully I'll get like 2 or 3. I'll tell you what, hope is not a business plan, right? But if about 45 days ago, I think it's about 45 days ago, I went, you know what? I'm going to commit to doing a reel every single day. And you know what? Within probably a couple of weeks ago, right? So a couple of weeks in, it actually just started to become like a no-brainer, right? It became as easy to do as everything else that I do in my business. So, again, creating those consistent habits, starting something new, and then doing it consistently, day in, day out. It's amazing, how easy it becomes, right? And then, look, maybe it's checking in with a customer, right? So, and that could be done, while you're catching public transport to work or, whatever, right? Think about where are those little pockets of time throughout your day where you could be doing something that is going to help you progress your business forward, right? Small actions repeated consistently. And that's encouraging, right? Because when, you do these things, consistently in the little gaps throughout your day, right? It means that you don't need 10 spare hours a week, right? Because most people don't have a spare 10 hours a week, right? But you simply need to use the time you do have wisely, right? And realistically, at the end of the day, aren't we known for being able to multitask, right? So multitask, right? I'm sure you can juggle a gazillion different things at once, right? Most of us can, okay? So I want you to have a think about something now. It's a little exercise. If you are somewhere where, if you're listening to this somewhere where you can grab pen and paper if you haven't already. And because I want you to jot some things down, right? So imagine you decided today that your business was a genuine priority, right? Genuine priority. Not the only priority, but an important priority. Imagine that for the next 12 months, this is what I want you to jot down, right? Imagine that for the next 12 months, you showed up consistently, you followed up consistently, you created and posted content consistently, you learned the right strategies, and you took action consistently, right? Where could you be in a year's time? Jot it down. Where could you be in a year's time? Could your sales be higher? Could your confidence have grown? Could your income be higher? Could you have achieved that promotion or that reward that your company is offering? Maybe there's a company incentive trip, right? That you know about. You've got the next few months or 6 months, however long to work towards achieving, right? If you do these actions consistently every day, could you be on that company incentive trip, later this year or next year, right? Um, could you create more choices for yourself and your family, right? I think the answer for many women is going to be yes. Okay. And that's exciting, right? Because your future results are being shaped by what you choose to do today, right? And I'm going to say that again. You need to listen to that again. Your future results are being shaped by what you choose to do today. Okay. Now, one thing I've noticed inside of my Beehive program is that the women getting incredible results aren't necessarily the women with the most time, right? Many of my Beehive members work part-time and full-time jobs. They're caring for partners. They're caring for elderly parents, right? They're caring for kids, grandkids, etc., right? So, it's not like their only focus is their direct selling or network marketing business, right? But they're often the women who are most committed, right? The women who are doing really well are the ones who are most committed, okay? Women and look, these are just a handful of examples. I've supported so many women over the last 5.5 years. Can you believe it's 5.5 years since I started Be Successful in Direct Selling with Penny? Inches. But these are just a handful of some of my current Beehive group members or Beehive program members and what's been happening for them, right? So, for instance, Sandy. Sandy is with Nutramedics. I'm also going to share Sandy is in her late 60s, right? She doubled her sales after joining the program last year, and then recently has had over 13,000 views on one reel, just one reel, after she had been, I didn't mean to say after just one reel. I meant to say within 24 hours, right? Within 24 hours of posting this reel, she had over 13,000 views. I think it was 13,700 and something views, right? And that was after she'd been showing up every single day as her authentic self in her daily reels. So she built momentum. She committed at the start of the month to embracing reels, learning how to do them, showing up consistently, posting them every single day. And because of that, one of her reels towards the end of last month hit over that 13,000 views in 24 hours. It's huge. There's Cindy, who's more than doubled her sales and her commission since she joined the program and earned her first overseas company incentive trip. In fact, she is in Hawaii right now on that trip, having an absolute ball. She's so excited to have achieved it and to be in Hawaii. She's never been there before. Lou tripled her sales, promoted up the ranks, and so many positive things happening for her in her business. Jamie has been showing up consistently in her business for a long time now, right? But the key thing with Jamie, consistency, right? She has increased her sales, she's increased her sponsoring, and last month was the only person in her company worldwide to double rank, right? Huge, massive, crazy achievement, right? Now, these women, as I said, this is just a handful of my program members, right? But these women aren't successful because they got lucky. They're successful because they committed to learning, right? Like Sandy, who has committed to learning how to use Facebook to grow her business, right? And they're committed to implementing. Again, Sandy, every single day last month, she produced a reel. She put it up, she posted it, she engaged, etc., right? They committed to showing up. Actually, Jamie is another one who's been really committed and consistent with reels. Jamie has also been doing reels every single day since like October or November last year, right? Showing up consistently, and they're getting the results from it, right? They're committed to showing up. They're committed to taking action. And over time, those actions have created results. So, as we finish up today, I want to leave you with one simple question. If I looked at your calendar and I looked at your actions over the last month, would they tell me that your business is a priority? Right? And I ask that question not to create guilt, not to create shame, but simply to create awareness, right? I want you to have a think about how committed are you? How important is it to you to achieve the success that you want to achieve from your business, right? Because awareness is where the change begins, right? Awareness, when you realize, you stop and you think, what is this about? How important is this to me? How committed am I, right? That is generally where the change begins, right? Because maybe today is the day that you decide that your goals deserve a little more space in your life, right? Maybe today is the day that you decide to protect some time for yourself. Maybe today is the day you stop waiting and you actually start taking action. You actually commit to showing up consistently for your business, right? Because success doesn't usually come from wishing or hoping, right? I think I said that earlier, didn't I? Hope is not a business plan, right? Wishing, hoping, not a business plan, right? Success comes from consistent action over time. And you don't need more hours in the day. You need to remember that you don't need more hours in the day. You just need your actions to align with the goals that you say you want. So, until next time, I want you to keep believing in yourself, keep showing up, and keep taking those small steps forward because they really do add up, right? And if you want to chat with me about where your business is right now, where you want it to be, and what you need to do to get it there, comment or DM me roadmap and let's book you in for a free call. Let's have a chat and see just what's going on inside your business right now. And I'd love to hear about what your goals are, where you're trying to get your business to be. And I will absolutely have a chat with you about, what's next, right? All right, lovelies, that is it for this week's episode. If you have found this helpful, if you have found this thought-provoking, please drop it in the comments, depending on where you are listening to this. Share it with a friend that you think might also benefit from listening to this. And I will see you soon on Facebook. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Bye for now.